Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm EVM and this is the Vauxhall Mokka-E. Can't say I'm a fan of the name if I'm being honest, but in terms of its DNA, where it comes from, I am a bit of a fan of that because this is part of Vauxhall, a part of the Stellantis group, used to be the PSA group, so along with Peugeot, Citroën, Vauxhall of course, DS, among others. They share the same components in EV world anyway, so it's effectively the same as the Peugeot E2008, the Corsa E, E208, DS3 Crossback E10s. You get my point. It's got some good value components behind it. They might not be the best in the world, but they do produce some very good electric vehicles at a decent price. Now, this, I think, has a significant issue, as do the others, to be honest, and that is the amount of competition that this has to compete against in EV world. You've got the Zoes, you've got the ID3 at its base spec, you've got the cheaper e-Niro and Konas in their smaller battery versions. So what does this offer that the others don't? Why would you plump for this one over anything else? Well, before we take it on the road and discuss that competition, let's have a look around it first. From the front, you know what, I have to say, I shouldn't, but I actually quite like this. The amount of comments I got on my Twitter feed when I put a picture of this up when it arrived that said, I think this is the best Vauxhall they've done for years in terms of looks. It looks really good. And I have to agree. I am not a crossover SUV fan, as most of you will probably know, but this one, it just seems to work. The way that it's kind of slightly recessed front end, it's kind of flat, a visor almost. The way the lights are incorporated into this black band, I like that, it just seems to work very well. This crease in the middle of the bonnet, completely unnecessary, but again it gives you something to look at, a bit of interest. They've even broken up the good old black plastic sort of bumpers quite nicely. There's a bit of trim there, a bit of green flash, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's the colour that I'm liking more so than the car, because I have seen this in silver and white and it just didn't quite look as good for me. It's even got the aero vents down there that actually do something. They're not filled in and fake. It's got a purpose. This is a good looking Vauxhall. Something I never thought I'd say growing up. The side, usual black chunky plastic. This kind of tails up at the top there above the wheel arch. Nice little touch. This silver trim that goes all the way atop gives it a nice little bit of a roof line, fake roof line anyway, because this one's got the black roof. Again, this is a top spec, not all will have everything that you see on this one. I quite like the way that this disappears into the rear door, that little crease. The rear door, I can't open because it's locked. Total professional there. Reasonable entry, but we'll have a look in the back in a sec. This massive door here, for the 100 kilowatt charging. Literally just started doing this and someone's using a jackhammer up the road. It's like they don't know who I am. I can't work in this condition. The rear now, not too bad. Little bit ordinary, but there's a few nice touches. These thin rear lights, I quite like that. The sharp crease on the bonnet that kind of gives you a flat back. The Mokka logo all the way along the side with the E there to let you know it's the Mokka-E version. There is an annoying thing I've picked up though over the last week of driving this thing, and that's how you open the boot. You can use the key fob, but the button to open it is here, just like the DS3 Crossback E10s, right next to the number plate where you get really filthy fingers. Now the boot, it is a bit smaller than the petrol diesel versions because it's electric, but it's not too bad. It's bigger than the Corsa E, for example. Reasonably wide there, and under here you've got a couple of inches of extra height for whatever you want to put in there. So yeah, not too much of a lip when that's in place. I'd probably just take that out and give you a deeper boot. But overall, I think you could live with that for the most part. It might struggle a little bit with some of the bigger kind of kids paraphernalia, like your pushchairs and whatnot. But overall, yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, it is a compact SUV, remember, so it's never going to be huge. Right, let's have a look around the inside first. Steering wheel feels okay. Actual proper buttons. Press that button there. And then this C of screen kind of comes to life. Remember, this is a top spec car, or it's very high spec anyway. So yeah, you've got a relatively unchangeable screen there, and this is the infotainment system. I'll come back to that in a second. That feels all right. Not the best plastic in the world, but I can live with it. That's quite nice. These feel pretty solid stuff. I said before, nice and easy to read. That tells you your charge. That tells you how much energy you're using. This infotainment system is all right, but it's not brilliant. You kind of, it's a bit of lag when you kind of click on stuff. It does Android Auto and Apple CarPlay though, so that's kind of, it kind of renders that kind of, not useless, but I think most people will use that. Buttons, stuff you can use when you're not, obviously, having to take your eyes off the road. That is quite a nice little feature there. That's all right. Again, I can live with that. It's not too bad. It's out of the way. And you've got a really big storage kind of cubbyhole there with a 12 volt and a USB. Now, let's get to this, the sea of gloss black. I mean, you probably can't pick it up on camera, but it's just full of dust and hairs already, and fingerprints. Cup holders, nice and sturdy, that's all right. Here, just under the armrest, that's very deep, it goes all the way down there. So yeah, a bit of close storage there, that moves forwards and backwards. Now, the glove box, that looks pretty wide, until you open it up and realise that, well, it's literally half the size. It only just fits the instruction manual that comes with the car. The seats now, very comfortable, again, high spec, and yeah, feels nice. Rear door isn't huge, but it's all right. I think this is more for a kids sort of rear. Now, I've put that seat, as usual, in a position for someone who's about 6 foot odd. Not a huge amount of space there. I can just about fit my legs underneath. Middle bench is reasonably wide, but then you've got this transmission tunnel. So yeah, if you've got 3 kids, you're not going to buy a Mokka, I suspect. You've got the USB at the back there, just in kick range. Headroom, I'm far from tall. It's all right. So again, the rear's for kids, the front's for adults, which I think that's what the Mokka is kind of for, isn't it? Let's take it on the road now and see what it's like there. Well, we've picked a lovely day for it.
We have. It's typical. This is a typical Yorkshire weekend.
Well, can you believe that we're a few weeks from summer?
I can.
Now, you're going to have to prepare yourself. I've been driving this all week for work. It's a little bit, like waterbed American-y.
Oh, yeah.
On the
old
handling.
school Cadillac.
Yeah. Which I think is what it's aimed at, isn't it? I mean, that's its target audience.
Well, to be fair, look at the roads in the UK at the moment.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, the steering, I think, is connected to the wheels.
No, I think you're lying there.
I mean, look, we're barely moving. But that's, again,
I think that's typical too. It's
what it's meant for,
be.
isn't it? Yeah. Someone who wants it easy to steer.
That's the only part that I don't like. If it had just
literally just
something to hold on to,
a handle, like most cars do, don't they? Usually you pull it back for B mode or drive.
Yeah. For me, I'll say it again, that's going to get full of crumbs. They have gone to the trouble of putting like a... it looks textured, doesn't it? But it's not.
Yeah.
I think if that was there...
It would hide in your
hide it, yeah. I'll just go for a matte finish. Who likes the gloss black?
Well, I assume there must be lots of focus groups saying that's brilliant. Either that or, as we've said in previous reviews, I don't think any car designer has children.
Or fingers. It feels relatively roomy, doesn't it?
It is up front.
Yeah.
In the back, it's a little bit more cramped.
Is it a bit...
for non-kids? I mean, it's going to have kids in that.
Yeah, you're going to have kids in that.
You're not going to have anything more than kids, apart from the odd adult short. Yeah. So I think it fulfills the brief it's been given.
Yeah.
Just like the 2008, which it's a direct rival. It's the same thing. So here's a question then. Let's talk about the competition, which, as I said earlier, is its biggest problem. Because this is
with any electric car at the moment, there seems to be almost...
There's loads, but this is the most competitive price bracket, I think.
Yeah.
Your compact SUV, small super mini, that's also in the late 20s. I mean, I've never been a fan of Vauxhalls. I said this in the Corsa video. When I grew up...
Ford fan.
Yep. It was always Escorts over Astras.
I don't want to say it, because I didn't... The last Mokka, every time I said Mokka, I almost was sick. But to be honest
what a
with
name.
you, I honestly... It sold in big numbers as well, didn't it?
It's done well.
Yeah. But I don't mind this. I really don't. It's it fulfills its brief.
Let's do the which would you go for thing. Peugeot E2008, which is basically the same car, or this. Let's come back to you on that one.
Give me a bit of time to think on that.
I think in looks, the Peugeot just trumps it.
Well,
Just
the French cars, in my opinion, the French cars always do. The Peugeot have got that nailed at the moment, haven't they? Just for looks.
Yeah. I think it's certainly in the sportier trim.
Yeah.
So I would probably go for that. And the interior, I could either for me.
I mean, the thing is, if I was in the market for either, it's going to be very close, isn't it? It's very. You'd have to take them both out back to back and have a see.
So let's expand this then into other stuff. The DS3 Crossback E-Tense is more expensive, basically the same thing, and I think that extra money just wipes it out for me. It's not a premium brand in that model.
No.
But I still think most people who go for an electric car that does 150 miles, a good portion of them, it will be a second car.
It will be, yeah.
Would you spend £2 or £3 grand extra to get the Citroen EC4? Bigger car, different kettle of fish.
It's a bigger car. It's going to depend, isn't it, on what your requirements are more than anything, isn't it? Do you need the extra space?
But then it gets more complicated when we same price bracket to the Citroen, the lower battery version of the e-Nero the Kona.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the e-Nero, and if it was my money, I'd either save a little bit longer or I'd just stretch and get the e-Nero. I did really gel with that car.
And it's a proper family EV.
It's a proper family EV. Yeah.
Then you go to the different kettle of fish that's cheaper by about £5 grand. The MGs.
Well, this is it, yeah. It's a massive. It's not a little bit cheaper, is it?
No.
It's a big wad of money, is that?
And I'm not saying that this hasn't got a nicer interior and better build quality, probably better warranty slightly. Although this has got
dealers.
More dealers and probably
certainly.
better ones. Although
Pretty much, yeah.
maybe, but that just shows the value of them as opposed to the negative side of this.
I think you'd have to look at, for me, this wouldn't be something I'd be buying out in cash. I don't think many people are buying cars in cash anymore, are they?
It's a PCP thing, isn't it?
You know, if the PCP was slightly more on this, not a massive amount, then I'd be going for this probably over the MG.
But it just shows the level of competition it's competing against.
Yeah. Just think 2 years ago, I remember you doing like the cars coming out or the cars of the year. It was struggling.
There's about 10 of them, and that's across the range, not just in this sector.
Yeah. I think what people want is the current car lineup electrified.
Yeah.
They don't want something that looks like it's out of a futuristic film, do they?
No. Wow, it's such a different car from this side. I'm not sat in this passenger seat yet.
I tell you what, I'm noticing just as to the sat there, you can tell it's been definitely designed as a left-hand drive.
Because you're knocking you almost Polestar-esque.
Yeah.
I've not noticed that personally.
But now you sat there.
I've got man-spread space.
Yeah.
I didn't realise how angled this was towards the driver.
Yeah. It does feel it's.
You found it's a nicer place here, isn't it?
Dare I say, it's got that BMW sort of angledness. But no, it does need something there. It's very strange, isn't it?
Yeah, just to pull back for an automatic gear lever.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be, anything big, does it? I mean, the XC40 just had a tiny gear lever, and that was fine.
Well, yeah, you don't have to hold anything big in your hands to have enjoyment.
Oh, honestly.
Got one in there.
Got one in.
Yes.
Go. Yeah, that's all right, that, isn't it? 50, 60, 70. All right, you can feel it sort of above 55, 60.
It does run out of breath a bit once you get above that 50-ish. But again,
it gets there.
Yeah, it gets there, and it probably gets there quicker than the combustion engine equivalents.
Yeah, and in silence-ish.
It will suit the typical, I think, Vauxhall owner, and I mean that in the kindest sense. For example, the automatic wipers, even though they're on the least sensitive setting, with light rain.
Yeah, they're going.
I'm surprised it doesn't automatically turn the fog light on for you when it's slightly raining.
I do like the little bulge in the bonnet there as well. It's a nice. It just breaks it up.
For the air intake, you mean?
Yeah, for the air intake. Well, it definitely
cools it down.
What it needs is a Subaru scoop putting in it, doesn't it? Perfect Vauxhall then.
So yeah, I do think this is more of a second car, or maybe like when you got a retired couple. There's only two of you.
Yeah,
kids have gone, because I don't think anybody who is pre-kids would go for a Mokka.
I don't think. Well, no.
It's bigger boot than the Corsa, but not massively so.
I guess it's just that thing is what people seem to like nowadays is being, for understandable reasons, is being higher up, just so you can see a bit more of the road. You do feel safer as well, don't you?
Another one. Hello.
Hey!
Another Mokka, green Mokka there. I mean, I've had a look around online and I've seen a reasonable spec one of these, brand new, for about 28 and a bit. So it's not cheap. But in
It's
EV
not-
land, it's
not bad
reasonable,
though, is
isn't
it? Yeah. Do you think many Mokka owners will be driving into woods and flashing the headlights?
I think that's more of the Calibra driver.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
If I think of a Calibra driver. I've known one in the past, and I'm pretty sure he was flashing lights at people. Are we lost?
I don't think
Where the hell are we?
it did say we could come up this way, didn't it?
I don't know.
Should we just keep going?
I mean, we live around here. How is that even possible?
Like, I feel like the car's trying to draw me somewhere. It's almost like it wants to go.
It's
somewhere.
driving itself somewhere.
Almost, yeah.
Where's
yeah.
it taking us then?
Let's have a see. It's like it's taking us here.
It's taking us here. That's where it's been driving us all this time. We're at a garden centre.
I think that's probably where
I mean,
it's
look.
at home.
I think I can count 12 Mokkas.
Yeah.
Would you go for this over the range, the competition, basically? I personally wouldn't, because I think there are other cars that are,
I can see
Top trumps.
I can see his point.
people will buy it.
Yeah.
Just like they bought the other Mokkas.
Yep.
In the electric car world, it's no better nor worse than a lot of its competition. But a little bit higher in the price bracket
Gets you a lot more.
gets you a lot more. That's the issue there, I guess.
Which to me, looking at the RRP on this, I do wonder whether there's going to be some good deals. Do you think one of the Mokka's worst things is the fact that it is a Mokka?
Its name.
Well, it's just got that. It's got its Mokka history and heritage, hasn't it? Which is, it's you know, the Mokka heritage is it's the person who reversed into you in a car park and didn't leave a note.
Who didn't even realise it hit you.
Yeah, didn't realise it. Yeah.
I think this has made it more youthful,
Yeah.
more appealing to.
Maybe that's just the colour.
Maybe. But I think the angular nature is quite scary to a traditional Mokka buyer.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, that's too fresh and funky. Like the others, 140 to 160 mile range. So
I think that's more than acceptable.
100 kilowatt charging, which I
Well,
think
if
is
you
about
can
right.
find it.
If you can find it. Yeah, I think this needs a special edition. The Rainer.
The Rainer.
The Mokka Rainer.
Mokka Rainer. Oh.
Okay, so we're over top.
Over to tops of it. Oh.
Are you in sports mode?
I am, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'll brace myself. Oh, here we go.
Oh, they're gone. Van's gone.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what happened.
The parcel shelves come out.
Then. Brilliant. We weren't even going that fast.
It's predictably dangerous, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't mean dangerous, but you know where its limits are, and you don't go past that. Right. So, I like this more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I think that's basically what we should say now. Yeah. So, thanks for watching as usual. Press the buttons, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the Mokka, and I'll see you soon. Then.
See you later.
We're going to have a race now.
Yeah. Ready. Steady. Go.
Nearly there.
Oh, you've won! I demand a rematch.
Round 2 then.
First
to
to the bottom. Go. Yep.
Oh, there. Oh, it's a dead eat. I'm knackered now.
I am.